Message a little bit ago with the most recent in terms of tomorrow's winds, for example. So we try to let you know exactly kind of pieces and parts of the weather story that impact you with those custom messages and videos, because we do have a lot going on in the First Alert 8-day planner. Basically, the next big weather maker is something that I want to highlight. But when you think about the difference here and the fact that I said I'm in the First Alert Weather Center, but we're issuing WVLT First Alert weather days. So the difference there is that we are First Alert. We are trying to make sure that you are first alerted to everything that impacts you, whether it's a frosty cold morning or a good day to get outside like today before active weather. So we're trying to make sure and highlight the things that actually impact you, something to keep up with, like the First Alert Weather app. But then a First Alert Weather Day is when we've got more of an urgent situation. Now, we've got lots of different criteria, and unfortunately we're meeting a few different ones in this First Alert 8-day planner, but this is where there's a greater impact, whether it be based on timing, specific locations we narrow down for you, but that impact, that urgency. For example, a messy commute, big temperature changes, well, we got both of those. Something stronger to severe, we've got that as well. So this short term is a very active First Alert forecast. So in your First Alert Weather Day for tomorrow, we'll kind of walk through these changes that we are going to be experiencing. I'll point out that really with two different systems, we're monitoring two different scenarios. So with Friday, what we're watching is widespread gusty winds that could cause damage. There is also some storms coming in within that. So those storms have a better chance of being strong to severe because those winds are already going to be up. But that also means that we could have some damaging wind before, during, and then after those storms. And then I'm highlighting Monday here. Notice I don't actually have it marked as a First Alert Weather Day. That's the difference in that little orange box there. Try to highlight those differences. We're monitoring a rain to snow line. So impact can be dramatically different in parts of our area as we monitor kind of when, where, and how much. Basically run to run, and the model data we look at still is kind of bouncing around. But the one consistency is the fact that we are going to have Arctic air across our area next week. So that's why Tuesday to Wednesday are WVLT First Alert Weather Days, because we'll be stuck below freezing. So there's obviously a lot going on. We'll start with that first event. Again, you've got your wind alerts, wind advisories. The National Weather Service put this out. This matches up to the First Alert forecast we'd already put out there in terms of winds being a big impact for Friday. So the difference here is we have wind advisories, everyone included in this. Sent you a message in the WVLT First Alert Weather app. Those gusts up to about 50 miles per hour. I'm seeing some spots getting a little more even in the lower to mid terrain. Obviously the mountain tops, well, that just ramps up. And that's why it's a high wind warning, because those winds can easily get up to 80 miles per hour. So these winds could topple weak trees, break some tree branches. So that's something to keep in mind, because that's pretty much all day Friday. It's Friday morning and goes until Saturday morning, actually, in the Smokies. So in terms of that track of winds, notice Friday morning, it's already windy in those higher elevations. That's very common around here. Think of the valleys kind of like a bowl. So the winds hit the rim, the top of the bowl, and then have to kind of spill down into the valley. So when that does spill down, that's when we'll have more of that uniform, stronger gusts at times, 20 to 40 to some 50 mile per hour gusts across much of our area. Notice those 70 to 80s right there along the mountains. And so that's where that starts mid to late morning Friday, continues midday. Those gusts are up occasionally. That means a gust is occasionally stronger winds, but even the sustained winds are 25 to 35 miles per hour. So we really are kind of just pumping out those winds all day long on Friday, before, during, and then after the storms. Notice at 6 p.m. how there's kind of this calmer band, and then the winds kind of flood back in. So that's where those winds persist, even going into your Friday evening, and then they'll have to kind of start to wind back down, wrapping up those alerts. So in terms of your hour-by-hour rain coverage, as I mentioned, in between is where we could see some of those stronger storms. So the winds are already up 10, 11 a.m. Storms roll in. Winds are still up in the evening, but by that point, we've got some temperatures dropping quick, a couple of rain showers changing over a couple of snow showers, but the winds are drying out the air. So this is a bigger wind story for sure, but there is that risk for an isolated stronger to severe storm. So what this marginal risk means, it's kind of tier 1. You can see them highlighted at the top of the map here in terms of those tiers, but a marginal risk means an isolated severe storm is possible. Yes, I know it's January. This is more of a spring-like setup, honestly, to have an isolated severe storm possible. But again, damaging wind would be the main threat. And that 1 o'clock to 5 o'clock hour time frame is when that storm line is currently on track to arrive for your WVLT First Alert Weather Day. Because notice Friday morning starts out frosty. It's calm and frosty in the valley. Then the clouds increase, the winds increase, and then the storm line rolls in. So late Friday morning to midday is when the storms arrive. Plateau to 1 o'clock valley. Notice 1 to 2 o'clock. Tracking it out on your First Alert Futurecast, very blocky. All right, some rain, some storms, some downpours. We won't all get the same amount of rain in this situation. It's not like the event from the other day that was winds and rain. This is some scattered downpours and storms embedded in this line, and those winds are up, more spread out throughout the day. This does give us some scattered storms. Times the kids are getting out of school, though, 2 to 3 o'clock hour, 4 o'clock, trying to come off the plateau there. 5 o'clock, top of the 5 o'clock hour, still some storms there between 4:30 and 5 in the valley. And then that moves on in that 5 o'clock hour. Got a couple more storms trying to come in there, 6 to 7, but it's becoming a lot spottier. So that's where we're watching that storm line to move on. And then a couple of light snow showers Friday night into Saturday. So really big picture. I'm zooming back out intentionally because big picture, there's a lot kind of churning around in the region. So that's where we hit a couple of days that are just downright chilly behind System 1. Right? Think of it as bringing down those temperatures. We're now establishing highs around 40. We've got mornings in the 20s. The cold is here. And then we bring down even more cold air. That's why the back-to-back systems are important, because it's kind of setting the stage for the next one to be more impactful. So then as we get into Monday, we're monitoring this rain-snow line. Notice right now, for example, snow wants to kind of drape across parts of Tennessee and Kentucky, but I really think we're going to fall right at that edge where we'll get some rain, some snow in parts of our area. Temperatures still have to come down. There's still some drying happening as winds are kicking up, so that's why it's not a uniform story in terms of that rain versus snow. I think we've got a better shot at seeing some snow showers then Monday night to Tuesday morning, but that's as that's actually wrapping up on the precipitation side of the story, and the cold story is what takes over. So again, widespread cold, widespread extended freeze. That's my bigger concern. Right, that's when we're really needing to check on our neighbors. That's when we're needing to make sure any outdoor pets have a safe, warm space, have a water bowl that's not freezing over. So that extended cold is really kind of the next WVLT First Alert Weather Day, because it's kind of a blend of some data here that I'm showing you in terms of that potential impact. So basically what I'm seeing is that trend at least to some heavier snowfall potential kind of right along the Kentucky line. So important there. I'm watching, is it going to come down onto the plateau? That's very much that line I'm monitoring. And then I think we got that line of light to moderate snow potential in the valley as it starts out across the region and then slowly works its way down across our area, then Monday to Monday night, but those temperatures are coming down no matter what. So that's where that extended freeze next week is then the bigger concern, because Monday will already then be below average. Like I said, it's back-to-back systems. We've already brought the temperature down for Monday, and then we're bringing it down even more with that Arctic air. So that's why Tuesday to Wednesday are your First Alert weather days. We could have some patchy ice on the roads Tuesday morning, no matter what type of precipitation you see, because we're bringing down that Arctic air. So that's something else to kind of keep in mind as we look ahead, because Tuesday afternoon, this is the kind of temperatures we're looking at. 19 for the high Tuesday afternoon in Crossville, 21 Middlesboro to Harlan, 29 Knoxville to 25 Townsend. So that's why we have those WVLT First Alert weather days highlighted for that extended freeze. So again, something to keep in mind. I mentioned a couple of these, but some basic tips when it comes to extremely cold weather. Actually wearing several layers, but making sure they're loose fitting. The airflow between layers actually helps to trap in your body heat a little bit more. So that's important when it comes to this extended freeze, especially for those of you who work outside. We're going to want to limit time outside though if we can. Obviously checking on neighbors. A good rule of thumb is people, pets, and pipes. Obviously check on your neighbors, check on your loved ones, make sure they have a safe heating source. The safe heating sources, make sure they're properly ventilated, be careful with space heaters, obviously have a backup plan in case there is a power outage. And then of course we got to make sure that pets are taken care of, that they've got a warm, safe place. And then of course the old pipes rule, you can drip your faucets, especially the ones on the exterior walls, cover those outdoor spigots. I know they were talking about that on WVLT News this morning, Harry and Whitney were. So what you need to know with those two systems, a good recap here for you, is that we are watching two different systems. We've got that Friday line of storms, but the damaging wind risk is before, during, and after the storms. then we are monitoring that rain to snow line for you. We'll send you a message from that WVLT First Alert weather app with that snowfall potential as soon as we really narrow that down for you more. But that freezing story is why we have those WVLT First Alert weather days for next week. So hopefully that helps you kind of better prepare and know that these changes are headed your way, as we do have so much going on in that WVLT First Alert 8-day planner. I just wanted to highlight everything that'll be impacting you so you can be prepared. Download that WVLT First Alert weather app so you can stay informed to stay safe.